The HLT is sort of nearly done. I need a couple more holes in there. I need a hole for the recirc, 2 holes for the Hermes coil, and a hole down there for the sight. I don't know what you call it, sight glass, or what are we going to call it? You know, so you can see how much watter's in there, basically. So that's the HLT. Yeah, probably about another hour's worth in there, but it is all polished up. So that's that. Gonna call the mash tun finished. We have a hole in the side for the Sparge arm and vol off. We have oil down there for tap and round and back. We have oil for thermo well. And what I should have mentioned yesterday was that I was going to clad this with wood, put some battens down here, then some strips of hardboard, and then on the outside some more like battens to make it look more like a Japanese hot tub, and then use squirty foam in between to insulate it, which is why I hadn't polished this one up. And then I thought, do you know what, let's see how we go, because we've got the Hermes coil. It's going to be controlled on the PID, so we might get away with it. It might be a suck it and see, check the efficiencies and see where it goes. And now the boiler. Finished this earlier on. We have here and here the holes for the heating elements. In the back we have the hole for the thermowell. In the front we have tap, Whirlpool, and then round there the sight glassy thing to see how much watter's in there, as it were. So this is now ready for a good clean out. This needs a good clean out, and well, that one will as well. But that's the bulk of the engineering part out of the way. I didn't mention, and I should have mentioned really, there are several videos on YouTube. I would point you particularly towards BREW 69, which is a guy over in Retford from the Brew Shed, and Harrison's Brewery. He's got a video on how to cut the top out of these, and also New to Homebrew Tom, which is a guy in Chesterfield who also has got a video up. Basically involves an angle grinder on a bit of a jig, and then you go round. I didn't. I used plasma cutter, and I made a simple jig to go over the centre, and then a bit of wood sticking out and a hole for the end of the plasma cutter to go in, and then just zum 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 zum. A minute later we've got a nice clean cut out, mainly when I haven't sort of like buggered little bits of it up like that. So this now is almost all ready for good clean and then a passivation. I don't know what I'm going to use for that. I'm certainly not going to waste a load of star sand on it, but we will see. Possibly citric acid or something. So there we go. We've got a nice clean and newly polished as well mash tun boiler with owls, all the owls in there ready. These are the elements, by the way, that are going in there, so they crisscross, and then there's about an inch gap between them. Also just makes sense of what I've just said. I have staggered the holes, so those are at the top and those are a bit further down. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Of course it makes sense. Right, so back once all these are cleaned and the elements are in, and we'll start the next phase. Daytime by the canal isn't quite as peaceful, but then we are right in the middle of the 4th largest city in the country. Moment of truth. Filled it up with water. There's about 50 litres of water in there. I think these are 50, I'm not sure. And just checking for leaks. They seem fine. I had to nip these up because these were leaking a little bit. So tighten those up. Thermo well. Seems fine. Whirlpool. fine. I'm going to put a tap on here for the Whirlpool. The sight glass, how much he is in there thing is fine, and the main tap is fine. So no leakies. Coming together. This is going to need a right good clean, but that's all right. Yes, progress. Just show my idea for the Sparge. This is a mash tun. Put a sight glass on here, so this will come from the Hermes coil, and also when we're sparging, so we can see after we've done the vol off how much is coming back through, and then flush it all out. But here's the idea for top, which is quite simply got two, well, a camlock set, I suppose, and this bar. Now on the end of that at the moment is a CIP spinny ball, spinny clean in place CIP ball. Oh, flipping it, come on. So, and that will go onto there, and that's then pretty solid. But I'm going to get a non-spinny ball to go on here for the Sparge, and then control that by the amount coming through the pump, so we get a decent Sparge. I could actually put an elbow on here upwards and then across, and then have the ball about this height, which does give, sorry, this height, which does give me a much better height. But I don't know, we'll see how we go with just a normal non-spinny Spargy ball. It's not, it's a cleaning ball, but this one, see, spins around under pressure and cleans alt inside. And as if by magic, just as I finished recording that, postman's turned up with spray ball. Now the only concern I have, if I'm going to do this raisey uppy bit, is for the extra inch and a bit. I think the lid would probably go over that, but it does stick out a little bit more. I might try shortening this a little bit, see how we go. Hang on. I think that's probably about perfect. I haven't tightened it up, obviously, because I don't know if you know, once you start tightening all of this stuff, it's impossible to ever undo it again. Now let's see if we can get, yeah, we can get, hang on, that one's still got that bit inside. Let's choose one where we've cut that out. That's got one inside as well. That's good, that's cut out, so that's not going to hit on top of that. Perfect. Look at that. Absolutely stonking perfect. So that's the Sparge and vol off, pretty much sorted. I'm happy with that. I think that's a really good solution. One of the real pains of this brewery build has been drilling the holes for things like the taps and the thermo wells and things. So I was using these type of things in here along with cutting paste, and then discovered this little beauty. Now this is a hole punch, and you put the metal between it, you tighten it up, and it punches these out. And the finish, I have to say, this is with the hole punch, this was with the saw, not the saw, you know, the drill, the sort of coned, stepped cone cutter. The finish of this, absolutely beautiful. I just needed to give it a light piece of sanding, whereas this I had to get the file on it and sand it, and you can probably see, yeah, not good. So hole punch, highly recommend it. 21mm, perfect size, and I shall be using that again in a second. This is the recirc for the HLT, and in a minute I'm going to be knocking a couple more holes in here for this. arrived 5 minutes ago. Pretty little blonde as well, Hermes driver. Yeah, anyway, so this is the Hermes coil. There you go, Blickman Hermes coil, stainless steel, heat exchange, recirculating mash system. And so this now is about to go into the HLT. Exciting, eh, boys and girls? And actually, you know what, this is just how it arrived, just in this box with a couple of bits of paper over the top, literally like that. It's come all the way from America. Mind you, I mean, it's difficult to break really, I suppose, isn't it? There's a couple of little bits in the box where that's hit there, you see, but doesn't seem to have damaged it anyway. Also comes with some pipe connectors, which I'm fairly sure I won't be using, to be honest, because I'm going to put cam locks, oops, on there. Although I might put a lock nut on top of that. We'll see how we go. Possibly put a lock nut on there because I've got some stainless steel lock nuts. Right, so let's get that in. All in. And first mock up, just to see whether I've got enough fittings, and I have. I've got spare one of these just in case, because you never know. I bought loads of these cheap little ball valves, and they are cheap, but they are stainless steel. The thing is though, even though they're 1/2 inch BSP thread, if you have a look, not a lot of space in there. It's more like 1/4 inch, but it doesn't really matter. It's only for isolating things like the Hermes coil, which isn't going to need to be massively high flow, the sight glass for the levels, how much watter's in there, the Whirlpool. I'm wondering, I might put a bigger one on the Whirlpool, and I might put one on here. I'm wondering now whether I'm not putting the sight glass like that was a wise idea. What I might do is bring this forward, put another elbow on so it's up higher, and more accessible rather than tucked in here. The way I've put this is so that the Hermes coil isn't right on the side, it's more accessible here, and likewise, you know, you've got full vision. So let's come back for the money shot. It's getting there. Lovely evening. I have filled this up to probably 25 litres ish, just to check that I haven't got any leaks, and we haven't got any leaks. So the tap dry. Yeah, so happy am I that we have no leaks. This is the idea for the Sparge. What I'm going to do is drain some water out first into a canal, and then I'm going to hook up the pump, which I got from Kieran. Hi Kieran. And we're going to check the Sparge, see how well the Sparge works. So let me drain some water out first. First proper dry run for the pump as well, or hopefully not dry, because you're not supposed to run them dry. And I've got some air in there, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on with the air. Now the pump doesn't have a switch, so I'm going to have to put my foot down and we'll see. Ow, hang on. Oh god. Right, we haven't got anything happening at the moment because oh, that is open. Oh fuck. Right. Oh, have we got anything happening? No, we've got fucking nothing happening. Right, hang on. I think I may have do a bit of editing here. This is going to be one of those learning circles, I'm sure. Oh, hang on. So that's the Sparge, which is a little bit overzealous at the moment. If I control the flow on the pump, let's see how we go. Too much. That's a bit better, isn't it? Hang on. I think that could be alright. Might have to secure the pump a bit better. Sorry, Kieran. I'm wondering whether I could put some kind of thing on here to act as a breather to get rid of any airlocks. I'll have to think about that. But otherwise, I think that will work okay. Sparging. Getting there, boys and girls. Getting there. And the sight glass there, showing the odd bubble going through, but otherwise, actually that's quite a lot of oxygenation, it looks like. I don't know whether it actually is. Definitely need to look at ways of removing air from the system. I mean, that's all right there, but I don't know, we might be all right. We'll see. Okay, so Sparge works. Happy with that. Now we know the Sparge works, I'm intrigued to know how the Whirlpool is going to be. So let's turn this on and then put the pump on. It's already going in the right direction. Yeah, it's got a Whirlpool. Question being, how much turbulence will there be? I think that's pretty good. So some turbulence where it's catching the outlet. Could put some dye in there to check. But that's alright. I think that's okay. Good, good, good. So we have Sparge and we have a Whirlpool. And we have dirty feet and sandals. There we go. How about that, boys and girls? So when I was testing the Whirlpool, I'm thinking the Whirlpool spins everything round, so you end up with a nice big dollop in the bottom here. It's probably not really where I want the takeoff. So I'm going to remove this and put an elbow down. So I'll take the takeoff from here. And then at the end of the boil, I'll just tip the tank forward gently if I need to. Otherwise, I'm just going to write off what's in the bottom there. I think it's probably about 1.5 litres that I'll end up wasting. But yeah, you just build that in, I guess. Otherwise, I am happy now that we've got everything of the kind of engineering side completed. Unfortunately, I've got to go away for 3 weeks. The judge said so. Some people will believe that. So I'm away for 3 weeks. So I will not be playing with my little microbrewery, which is a shame. And I'll have to be patient and hope that while I'm away, the other people who work in here don't scratch my little babies and things. I might put them out on the boat actually. So yes, yeah, away for 3 weeks. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. These are what I'm going to do. A couple of books, a book of recipes, and this is the revised Bible. Homebrew beer. Got a completely different look to it. It looked a bit kind of, I don't know, like a comic before, but it won't take long for this to get as dog-eared as the other one, I'm sure. But it is hardback, it'll last pretty well. This, I don't know, I can't imagine that lasting as long, but that's my 3 weeks reading. It's not actually. I've also got a shed load of real books that I've got to read. Academic-y books, yuck. But in my mind, my heart will be here with me babies. Still a lot to do, awful lot to do. Wiring, control panel, but happy am I with the progress made. So back in probably about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, boys and girls. Enjoy the last of the British summer, and if you like this nonsense, please show your appreciation by clicking the little thumbs up thing, because it does wonders for my flagging ego. And if you want to see the continuation of my machinations and who writes this bollocks, and progress not only on this but also on some of the other stuff that I do here, please click subscribe. And if you want to know why I do all this sort of rubbish, what I do with the money I make from the other stuff that I make, go and visit MadeByMartyn.co.uk. Thanks ever so much. Please subscribe and like. Bye.